I stopped asking the universe for money and started ordering it because I finally realized that begging only confirms lack. When we ask with a pleading spirit, we are silently confessing that we do not yet have, and so the universe reflects that very belief. But when we command with the authority given to us as children of the infinite, when we declare with certainty that abundance is ours by divine right, then doors open, channels appear, and money rushes in. The power of the spoken word is the power of creation. Every word is a decree, every affirmation a seed, and the soil of spirit never denies the harvest. I learned that words are not idle sounds. They carry the vibration of faith or fear. If I say, I hope I will receive money, the vibration is weak and uncertain. But when I say, money is flowing to me now, under grace and in perfect ways, the very ethers respond. The supply that was always waiting in the invisible rushes forth into visibility. Asking confirms lack, but ordering affirms abundance. This truth was the great turning point in my life, and once I understood it, everything shifted. When you ask for something, you are, in essence, admitting that you do not already possess it. Your words and your attitude declare to the universe that you are outside of the very thing you seek. To say, please give me money, may sound humble, but in reality it is a statement of lack. It says that money is distant, separate, and not yet yours. The law of the spoken word is exact and unchanging. What you continually affirm will appear. If your speech is filled with pleading, you anchor yourself in the vibration of wanting, and wanting can only reproduce more wanting. The universe reflects not your hopes, but your convictions. When you ask weakly, you plant seeds of uncertainty, and the harvest is delay. But when you shift from asking to ordering, you step into your divine authority. You were never meant to crawl before life, you were meant to command it. God has already given every soul the inheritance of abundance, health, love, and success. To order is not to demand of a reluctant universe, but to claim what is already prepared. When I speak with certainty, I am aligning myself with what is eternally mine. My words cease to be wishes and become decrees, and decrees move the invisible forces of spirit into visible manifestation. Just as a king does not beg his servants to act, but gives a command and trusts it will be carried out, so too must we speak to the universe with the same authority. The act of ordering changes not only the words on your lips, but the energy in your heart. When I say, money comes to me now, under grace and in perfect ways, I feel the vibration of possession, not absence. That vibration is the magnet that draws all things. It tells the universe, I know who I am, I know what is mine, and I expect it. That confidence collapses the distance between desire and fulfillment. Asking keeps the blessing always tomorrow, but ordering places it firmly in today. In that moment, you are no longer outside of wealth. You are inside it. Think of the sunlight. You do not ask the sun to shine, for it already does. You only open the curtains and let it in. Prosperity is the same. It has always been shining, waiting to pour into your life. Asking keeps the curtains drawn, but ordering flings them wide. To declare, to command, to affirm is to open your window to the ever-present flow of supply. So I no longer ask, I order, I decree, I claim. I stand as a child of the infinite, and with fearless faith, I declare my abundance, and as I speak it, so it is. The spoken word is a decree, and this truth is the very foundation of all manifestation. Words are not idle sounds floating in the air. They are creative forces, shaping substance and forming the world we live in. Every time we speak, we plant seeds in the invisible, and those seeds must bring forth after their kind. When a gardener plants an apple seed, he does not expect oranges to grow. In the same way, when you speak words of poverty, limitation, or doubt, you cannot expect abundance, freedom, or joy to spring up in your life. Your world is the garden of your words. Many people speak carelessly, saying things like, I can't afford that, or money never comes easily, and then they wonder why their lives reflect struggle and lack. They do not realize that each word is a decree, an order given to the universe, and the universe, being obedient, fulfills it exactly. When I began to understand this law, I guarded my tongue more carefully than I would guard a treasure chest of gold. I realized that my words were my fortune, and with them I could build wealth or destroy it. To say, I am rich, even when the purse is empty, is not self-deception. It is an act of faith. It is the declaration of what exists in the unseen, waiting to become visible. The moment you say it with conviction, forces begin to move, doors begin to open, and opportunities are magnetized to you. But to say, I am poor, I am struggling, I never have enough, is to bind yourself to that very experience. The law knows no humor, it knows no exaggeration. It simply fulfills the decree. The power of decree is amplified by faith. If one speaks with doubt, the word is weak and bears little fruit. But when spoken with certainty, as a king issues a command, the word carries authority. The Bible tells us, Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. This is not poetry, but law. What you decree with faith must be established, for spirit cannot deny itself. The spoken word is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the unseen and the seen. It is the signal to divine substance to take form. From that moment on, I chose my words as one chooses precious jewels. I no longer said what I saw. I said what I desired to see. Instead of repeating the evidence of lack, I declared the reality of abundance. I spoke wealth, health, and success, and life reshaped itself to obey the decree. The tongue is the rudder of the ship, and the ship must follow where the rudder points. By speaking words of prosperity with fearless faith, I ordered my ship to sail straight into the harbor of plenty. Would you like me to move on and expand key point 3 into 500 words in the same Florence Scovel Shinn style? Faith is the evidence of things unseen, and it is only through faith that the invisible becomes visible. Many people wait to see before they believe, but that is not faith, that is sight. True faith is a bold conviction that what you have spoken already exists in the spiritual realm, even though your physical eyes cannot yet behold it. It is the invisible hand that brings the promise into manifestation. When I first began to understand this, I realized that asking over and over again was an act of doubt, not faith. To continually plead is to confess that the thing you desire is far from you. But when you believe it is already done, you need not beg. You simply stand firm in your declaration, knowing the evidence will soon appear. Faith is not hoping or wishing. Hope says, someday it will come. Faith says, it is mine now. Faith claims its good before it can be seen, before there is even a hint of it on the horizon. When a farmer plants a seed, he does not hope it might grow. He knows it must grow, for the law of growth is certain. He waters it, he nurtures it, but he never doubts that it will break through the soil in due time. That is the same with faith. Your words, your affirmations, your declarations are the seeds, and faith is the knowing that the harvest is inevitable. Doubt digs up the seed. Faith lets it grow. I learned that faith speaks in the present tense. It does not say, I will be rich. It says, I am rich now. To put your good into the future is to keep it out of reach. The law responds to the vibration of now, not tomorrow. When I declared with unwavering faith, money comes to me now under grace and in perfect ways, I no longer strained or worried about when or how. I simply knew, and in that knowing, the channels opened. Unexpected checks arrived, opportunities appeared, and every need was supplied. It was not the pleading that brought these things, but the faith-filled decree. There is no power in fear, for fear is the substance of the things you do not want. Faith and fear are both creative forces, but one builds and the other destroys. If you fear poverty and speak words of lack, you are exercising faith in the wrong direction, and poverty will obey. But when you anchor your heart in fearless faith, believing that the universe must answer your command, then prosperity is inevitable. Faith is the master key that unlocks the treasure house of abundance. So I ceased to measure my goodbye appearances. I stopped letting empty pockets or unpaid bills dictate my words. Instead, I held to the unseen reality, and I spoke as though it were already mine, and truly it was. Faith does not wait for the evidence. It creates the evidence. The invisible world is more real than the visible, and when faith is spoken, it clothes the unseen in form. Ordering is alignment with divine law, and once that truth is grasped, the entire burden of struggle begins to fall away. Many people fear that speaking with authority over their circumstances is arrogance, but in reality, it is obedience to the laws of the Spirit. The divine has already decreed abundance for every soul. Prosperity, health, and success are not privileges reserved for a few, but the birthright of all. When we order our good, we are not demanding from a reluctant universe. We are stepping into harmony with what has been prepared from the beginning of time. It is the false belief in separation, in limitation, in lack that causes begging and pleading. But when we recognize that the infinite already holds everything in readiness, we understand that to claim it boldly is not pride, but alignment. Divine law is perfect, exact, and unfailing. Just as gravity does not sometimes work and sometimes fail, the law of supply does not sometimes respond and sometimes ignore. It always answers the decree of faith. When I began to order instead of ask, I was no longer trying to bend life to my will. Instead, I was aligning myself with the great current of truth, that abundance is ever present, waiting only for my recognition. A magnet does not beg the iron filings to come closer. It simply rests in its nature, and the filings obey. So too does the soul, aligned with divine law, become magnetic to prosperity. The command, the order, is not forceful. It is simply the recognition of truth spoken aloud. When we live in harmony with divine law, we see that there is no shortage in spirit. Lack exists only in the mind of man, never in the mind of God. Divine substance is unlimited, flowing through infinite channels, and it will find its way to us in ways we cannot foresee. To plead is to confess that the supply is absent. To order is to declare that the supply is present, here, now, and flowing. It is not arrogance to speak this way. It is humility. For true humility is knowing that of ourselves we can do nothing, but in alignment with Spirit, all things are possible. We are not the creators of abundance, but the vessels through which abundance flows. Ordering is simply opening the channel. I remember times when appearances suggested failure, when circumstances shouted lack. But instead of agreeing with appearances, I spoke the truth of divine law. Abundance is mine now. Prosperity flows to me in perfect ways. Those words were not spoken to convince some distant power, but to align my mind with the eternal fact. And soon the evidence appeared, because the outer must always match the inner decree. Ordering is not forcing life. It is cooperating with it. It is the confident expectation that the law never fails, and that what belongs to you by divine right can never be withheld. In this alignment, worry dissolves, fear vanishes, and peace takes root, because you know that the law is working silently, powerfully, and unfailingly. Fear blocks, but faith multiplies, and this is the great secret behind every success and every failure. Fear is the great robber of life, stealing opportunities, draining courage, and closing doors that might otherwise have opened. Faith, on the other hand, is the builder, the multiplier, the magnet that draws every good thing to us. Both fear and faith are forces, both create, both bring results. The only difference is that fear creates the thing we dread, while faith creates the thing we desire. Many people think that their fears are private thoughts that remain hidden, but the law is exact and impartial. Fear spoken aloud is a decree of misfortune, and fear entertained silently is still a seed that will bear fruit in due season. To worry about lack, to talk endlessly about poverty, to repeat stories of failure, This is nothing less than practicing faith in the negative. And life, being obedient, gives us more of the same. I learned that fear paralyzes the very channels through which supply wishes to flow. When the mind is filled with anxious images of unpaid bills or empty purses, the energy becomes tight and closed. Nothing new can enter a clenched hand, but faith opens the hand, opens the heart, opens the channels, and allows the good to rush in. Faith is expansive, radiant, confident, and creative. It expects the best, and by expecting the best, it calls the best into form. Every word of faith is a magnet, drawing supply. Every word of fear is a barrier, pushing it away. The universe does not judge or choose, it simply reflects. If you say, "I never have enough," life says, "So be it." If you say, "Money comes to me now, easily and freely," life answers with opportunity and supply. It is a law that what you focus on grows. If you give your attention to fear, it multiplies lack. If you give your attention to faith, it multiplies abundance. The difference between a life of struggle and a life of ease lies in this simple truth. Fear shrinks the world to limitation, while faith expands it to infinite possibility. I once faced moments when everything around me shouted defeat, yet I chose to speak only words of faith. All that is mine by divine right now comes to me under grace. Every need is met, every bill is paid, every door is open. Though appearances seemed unchanged at first, the atmosphere shifted. A new peace filled me, and in that peace, supply came quickly and in unexpected ways. Fear is a mirage, but faith is substance. Fear drains, but faith energizes. Fear binds, but faith sets free. The more we dwell on faith, the more our world multiplies with opportunities, money, friendships, health, and success. Faith is the seed of abundance, and fear is the weed of lack. If you plant weeds, you cannot expect roses. If you plant faith, you cannot help but reap a harvest of plenty. So I cast out fear and made faith my constant companion, and life multiplied my good beyond measure. Money is a servant, not a master, and when this truth is understood, life changes in the most remarkable ways. Too many people bow before money as if it holds power over them. They chase it, worry about it, and live in fear of not having enough. In doing so, they make money their master, forgetting that it was meant to serve, not to rule. Money is simply divine substance in visible form, a symbol of exchange, a tool to carry out your divine purpose. It has no power of its own. It takes power from the words you speak and the beliefs you hold. When you treat money as a tyrant, it enslaves you. But when you command it with faith, directing it to serve your highest good, it comes freely, joyfully, and in perfect ways. I stopped running after money the moment I realized it was meant to run after me. The law is clear. Whatever you chase runs from you, but whatever you claim with authority comes to you. When you say, "I need money desperately," you put yourself beneath it, and in that position, money slips further away. But when you say, "Money is my obedient servant," it comes when I call, it multiplies when I bless it, and it serves my divine assignment. Then you take your rightful place as master. Money is like a faithful servant waiting at the door, ready to carry out your command, if only you speak it with confidence. The danger of allowing money to be the master is that it narrows the vision. People sacrifice their joy, their health, and even their integrity for the sake of money, forgetting that abundance flows from spirit, not from toil or fear. But when you recognize that money is merely one channel through which divine substance flows, you become free. You no longer cling to a single source, for you know that supply is unlimited and can come from anywhere. A servant may change his clothing, but he is still the same servant. So money may arrive as a paycheck, a gift, a new idea, or an opportunity, but it always comes in obedience to the decree of faith. I began to speak to money as one speaks to a willing helper. Money, appear now. Money, serve me in perfect ways. Money, flow in abundance and return multiplied. These words carried no fear, no desperation, only confidence, and money responded, for it has no choice but to obey the words spoken in faith. I blessed the money I already had, knowing that what is blessed multiplies, while what is cursed diminishes. Instead of complaining, "It is not enough," I declared, "This money is alive with divine increase, and it grows as I use it." In that shift of mastery, everything expanded. Money is a wonderful servant when guided by spirit, but it is a cruel master when worshipped in fear. To place yourself above it is not arrogance. It is divine order. You are a child of the infinite, heir to boundless wealth, and money is but one of your tools. Use it wisely, direct it boldly, and it will serve you faithfully, opening doors, meeting needs, and supporting your highest calling. Once you know this, you no longer chase money. You command it, and it obeys.